So guess what? I came up with this idea. I came up with an idea. I don't know if it, I don't know, maybe I'm just in a creative mind and the world I'm stoned. Maybe that's it. But anyway, I'm going to blab and blab because I look really funny. Fuck, this is good weed. It's like nature's way of making you high. Maybe that's where they got it from. Like if this one really makes you feel like you're in the clouds flying. You feel like you're high up. Like right now, it's so dark in here. I can feel like I'm floating. Anyway, it's funny. I'm going to go from enjoying my buzz to, okay, solve the business. I was wondering that, I was thinking, it's not a problem for us to get water here. Even if we were to do a farm in Tapua, where it's really dry up there, we could just use a water desalination process and then put that through a reverse osmosis water purification system. And we've pretty much got water that's fresher than some rainwater. Not actual, because, pH levels being what they are. Anyway, you have to add a lot of pH to it. And, it works. It's proven itself around the world. For most in New Zealand, water isn't as much of a problem. That they'd really have you believe. Water crisis. How can you run out of water? The world, 70% of it. And apparently the water rate, things are rising. Why aren't we putting more water desalination places around the planet? Instead of telling people to conserve water when you've got the ocean there and desalination. And say you only used it for showers and not drinking. See, it doesn't make sense. It's almost like, water desalination, as opposed to taking it off the mountains and putting it into pump bottles. You take it from the sea and make fresh water that you bottle that isn't going to affect the water tables. That would happen if you started taking, most people would only think of water as being, look, all they're going to do is take 500 litres. Really, in the big scheme of things, that really isn't much water. But what it does do, and even I think, I don't know, let's face it, I don't know, but it kind of makes sense to me that if you start playing with the amount of water that you take off either a river or lake, if you take a knot out of it, it's not the amount of water or the flow that gets affected, well, not the only things that get affected, but the water table underneath water. Like, if this was the top of the lake and this was the bottom of the lake, it's not like these. Like it's not like, that's the bottom, so there's no more water under that. The reality is there is. That's where the soil is, but over time that water table will sink to a certain level. And say like it's like that. So this is the bottom of the lake, and this is the depth that the water goes down to. Because it's just sand or shit. Be okay if it was a concrete bottom, boom, that's where it is. But it's not. It's a porous bottom. It's always going to make water drop or come further down. And even with the earth temperature down below, it doesn't heat it up enough to be able to make it. I say dissipate, but I know there's another word about it. Anyway, you change the amount of water on top, it's going to change the water underneath because of what's keeping that down under there, or the pressure of the lake up top. When that pressure of the air drops, this level starts to go up. So it's not that you're just affecting the amount of water in the lake. What you're actually doing is also changing the water table underneath. R&D. Just, it kind of makes sense. Anyway, if you started using, now I'm on this one. This isn't even the one I was wanting to talk about. Maybe that one's wrong, but maybe it's already been thought of. But then if water is so valuable and so important, then why aren't we using water desalination? Desalination. Remember years ago when we were watching Star Wars? Was it Star Trek? Star Trek with Spock. And anyway, they went back in time and they went back and got two whales. Funny, I can't remember their names. But in that movie, and I'm sure that's the movie, when they were talking about the kind of water, or was it this other movie I was watching? Anyway, desalination is what they do to water. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was about a submarine. And they said, like, the way that they collected all the water in the submarine wasn't by storing lots of water in it. And what they did is piped in enough water, put it through a desalination process, and then you could use it to drink. It was that fresh. Well, even if we didn't use that water to drink, let's face it, the majority of the water that we waste goes on things like toilets, showers, gardens, in places like New Zealand, swimming pools, like, why does that have to be water we could have drunk it? Like, why use the pure water for those kind of things? Well, maybe the shower. I mean, I don't see why you can't put it right through the whole thing. I mean, maybe there's like a long-term collective residue. Like when you have, I'm trying to think what they think. Say you've got something metal. That's it. Yeah. Well, if you leave a piece of metal out long enough, it starts to corrode, and then the corrosion starts to show itself as rust, and that have to do with it. So maybe that's why they don't use desalination, because everybody knows that the first problem with trying to put salt water through anything metal is that it's corrosive, isn't it? But one would think that if the desalination process had gone through, there wouldn't be any salt in it. I don't know. I just can't help but think, why? Come on. If I got a movie or a Star Trek thing about a thing, why aren't we doing that right now? Why aren't we using the world's seas to give everybody water? Why would you? Why would you not? Why are you not? Why is everybody taking? I'm not even going to carry on this conversation because I just thought of something. Hmm. The problem with where my brain is right now. Well, maybe for some this wouldn't be considered a problem, but I don't know what it is that's making me fire off these ideas. But I'll tell you, from the time I've been down in Christchurch, there was a time when me and Dave, yes, Dave Tookie, we decided to go for a trip. We went up to Hammer Springs, to whatever, swim and all that kind of stuff. And on the way back, I just picked him up for work. We'd gone up there, spent an awesome time up there. But by the time we left, and you're in hot, pools, and you get tired, and he was knackered. So, I said, look, I'll drive. It was only a Friday night. We didn't have to be anywhere. We didn't have to go anywhere. So I thought we'd just take a nice drive home. On the way out, there's a fork, and kind of look that way, and that's Christchurch. I knew that. So, what's this way? So I took off. He was asleep. He couldn't tell me off, and I was hoping that by the time we woke up, I'd be on the other side of the South Island, the West Coast. God, I'm a shit. Who would do that, eh? Anyway, on the way over, Ford Sierra, remember that silver Ford Sierra I used to own? The car just stopped. I mean, just stopped. Now, I'm not making this up, because I guarantee if Dave thought you were good enough to talk to, he would tell you that this really happened. I mean, anyway, the car just broke down. Didn't know what it was. Pre-mobile days. Well, no, I think mobile phones are out, but like they were at a price. Oh no. Oh, I thought it wasn't recording. I was thinking, fuck, I just said all this shit and I forgot to push the record button. The car just stopped. No cell phone. Well, we already had the blankets in the back. Oh, fuck. Part of the adventure would worry about, about getting getting help the next day. I mean, shit, no car had gone past us. No car had gone past us since we broke down. Fucking nothing. Because, the road Jay decided to take was a goat track. I mean, they were nice roads, but there was no one on that road. And I'd done that twice, actually. There was another time they kept saying, yeah, but the sign back there said Taumaranui. Yeah, but this is Stratford. You can't. No, but that's what the sign said. And I just followed it through fucking boulders about this fucking big. I mean, the car would go up like this and bang down. We went through this tunnel part where it wasn't like that, literally just bang, 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 bang. I mean, we had to drive through this tunnel where shit was actually falling off the roof. Fuck, man, I'm a dangerous kid. All part of life lessons, though, and fuck, I learned something. Anyway, I digress. Something you may not have known about me. We made our beds and we were laying down, and I was laying down, and originally I said, Si, it's the person I love, not the person not Dave. I thought I saw somebody out the window, and I said, hey, Dave, get up, there's somebody outside the window. Because Dave, I wasn't fat back then. Dave was being his sexy self. I didn't care what you fuckers say, I'm a homo. Fuck, of course I'm gonna like guys. Anyway, he said, well, no, he just kind of, I went down, put your head up to have a look, and he said, there's no one there. I said, yeah, there is. And she was She looked like she was just on the other side of the window. And Dave, by that time, thing and sat up. And it almost looked like there was something here. And when Dave sat up, that he almost went through it. I don't know, it must have been a bit of time after that. Nani came down and flew her down. I was going to fly her home. And she came back again. But you know what was funny? Is that never felt scary. Never felt like, I mean, give me a bit of warning, you think, you're going to be there. Because the first time it just scared me because, I thought it was a real person. I know if anybody sees this, I'm going to the mental house. But that's what it felt like. And Nani remembers it because when I told Mum about it, Mum told us to fly home, come back to Opunake. And I said, yeah, okay. But, so I booked, it was about a week later after me and Nani had been downing all this fucking wine. We went home and they picked us up at New Plymouth Airport. We went home and then later that night, Mum took me down to the river. And she started giving me a blessing. I don't know what it was, like one, I don't know my Rio, and that's not cool. Not my fault because of the people that were around when my parents were speaking. They stopped them. Mum's fault wasn't Dad's fault. It was the government's fault that our people lost their language. And I think we forget that. Our language didn't get lost because we stopped speaking it. We stopped speaking it because people made laws and made conditions that said, well, you can't learn it at school. And even when you had to learn Maori at school, they didn't teach you how to talk Māori or speak Māori. They gave you a structure and said, this is Māori. Ko tēnei te mihi kia koutou katoa. I mean, that is a sentence. Fine. But I don't think that's how they would have taught it. Because that's not how we teach kids English. You took our language and tried to put it into a Pākehā structure. And they wondered why it wasn't working at schools unless it was actually taught by a real Māori person. So they give the brown person the job, but then they've still got to go by the syllabus that somebody who was government wrote. And you've had us convinced all these years that, we lost the language. We didn't lose it. Why didn't Mum and Dad teach us the reo? Because Mum used to get smacked on the hands. And Dad learned pretty quickly. I better not do that shit. Because it was frowned upon. I mean, remember when we used to go with Mum and Mum would say something? This is how I knew it was cool. When Steph, Nani, probably all of the fucking mokos know that used to go out with Nan and she'd see something expensive and how do, and you'd kind of have to reply in Māori what the amount was. And even if I was sitting there going, "Tahi rua, tori," you knew you had to say it back in Māori. And then she'd go off going, "Oh my God, I can't believe how expensive that oka, oh, where tokiri and you're kind of thinking, oh my God, these right in front of all these people. Hey, Mum. But they didn't know what she was saying. And maybe maybe I didn't know word for word what Mum was saying, but I knew by the tone, I knew by the plus I kind of maybe I didn't know, but, you kind of I think Mum's yeah, I mean, you hear the word utu all the time and you start to learn, oh, no, she's not talking about revenge. How do you do? Like, and Mum was always very clear about how Mum used to speak. Like it's not like she spoke cryptically or she spoke irreverently. Mum always very go and do this, this, this. She didn't. Same with Dad. Dad was exactly the same. Very clear about what they wanted you to do. But I don't know. Fuck, I've lost my track. So I'm going to forget the story and go back to the original one. So Mum took me down to the river. She did whakamoemiti, Inoi, Karakia. Maybe she was just saying all the cities, or all the Māori named cities around the place, just so she could throw water on me in the middle of the fucking winter. But I knew as soon as I got out of the water that she was still there. Told Mum she wasn't. Part of me was really proud, to kind of like be with Mum in that moment. Like, fuck, how many others in my family have been able to? Oh, maybe all of us, but at that time I was thinking, how my mum took me down to the our awa, and we were down there for a long time. And from the time we got there to the time we left, she was doing karakia right through. Or as I think, just Taranaki, Mabanganui, Taihape, Remuera, but it felt like it was, like it had a feeling that it was something, but it didn't make it go away. And it's a she. But I've looked on all the photos down home. I've gone through all the photos and I haven't seen her. Something that's been happening, even from the first time I saw her. She had black hair, beautiful, straight almost, like Wednesday. There was actually a kind of thing that hair and their hair straight. Granted, all that white skin's bound to make you be spooky when you got short, long black hair, but it wasn't perfect like that. It was like the hair fell, cascaded, whatever you want to call it. If I could draw, don't tell Simon this, he'll think I'm mad. Never felt like I was mad. But I've seen her face a long time. I'm telling you guys about this because, yep, lock them up. And I've been talking about this, and I keep saying to people, this isn't mine. Like I haven't finished the water one, but she's been part. I mean, I'm not saying I see her every day. I'm not, because I don't. Well, I didn't. Kind of looking down because I kind of, even if there's no one in front of me, I just kind of feel like I don't feel judged. what? Even if you judged me, I know this is going to sound stupid, but if anybody was to say that the few times one of my tupuna have come to me started, and I don't know, maybe she's always been there, but started in the gorge. And I thought she'd stay the same age. Doubt it, honestly. I doubt it. I doubt. I'm not crazy, I'm not. I used to think I had a mental health problem. I don't. Well, I don't now. It used to bother me before, and Moses, when me and Moses blew up with it, my brain used to work in a way that would say, when I argued with Moses that night, Steph, you know how much I love that boy. But I just got to the stage with him where I was thinking, it's not about the words. I haven't gone back to those conversations online and that stuff. It wasn't about the words that were used. It was how they were said. And, if Dylan had done it, I mean, Levi did it to me the other day too, fuck. But I deserved it again. From anybody else, that never would have heard any, But that's what's been my mental health problem for the amount of years. After me and Moses had that blow up, I could talk about it because it really doesn't matter anymore. There's a highway that goes from ends up in Pokadonga. I know where it is. I think it's the Eastern Corridor, and there's that big long bridge, and it goes over the water. Drove down, got out of my car, stood on there for a little while, jumped over the other side of the barrier, started to jump. The fall wouldn't have killed me, and I knew that. Well, maybe if I'd belly flopped, that would have only been better because I would have been knocked out by the pressure and wouldn't have felt myself drowning, wouldn't have stopped myself. No, jumping off the bridge wasn't about dying from the fall. It would have been dying because I couldn't swim. Anyway, but it didn't happen. Because guess who turned up? I've tried to commit suicide in my life about 15 times. Real attempts. Well, I didn't tell anybody about them because I didn't want people to find me. I wasn't doing it for attention, The last one that happened after I argued with Moses was significant because from the time I left his home and put my foot down on the grass and ripped up the lawn, wasn't. Us Hohaya kids that grew up at 72 Melrose Road Actually, I'm just talking. I mean, the others lived there, but me, Nan, and Steph know how important that front lawn was to Dad. You know. Anyway, when I ripped out of Moses's place, I don't ever think I could ever feel so disgusted with myself for attacking my boy. You know, Steph, you were on the bed. You know, bouncing up to Moses after he come out and just thinking, you know, so much so that when they were going to hand baby, I mean, you used to think it was at Dylan's in it. It was Moses. Well, maybe it wasn't, but that's from the time that boy came out. I was always going to be, you know, fuck, I don't know what it was about him. Yeah, actually, I do know what it was about him. You know, he was my buddy. When we had to go down to Taranaki, Moses would be the one that would stay up with me all night. You know, and there was one night time we drove down. We had all kinds of problems. There was bad rain. You know, what should have been a 6-hour drive turned into a 9-hour drive. And man, guess he stayed awake. I remember what he looked like when he went to St. Leonard's School. And you know, I remember, you know, oh, look at them. Because I was holding the video, I think. I remember Levi's, anyway, they'll stay with Moses. The time that, you know, I got the kids all dressed up and I took them all, what do you call it? You know, you dress up as werewolves. And because it wasn't really known about, I kind of just felt stink because like the kids were going to want to go up to houses and, you know, there was probably a really big chance that, you know, they weren't going to give the kids holidays. So what I did was I ran ahead to the houses and said, look, I'm going to bring the kids along. Can you just give them this? And then I'll go to our next house. And I did that. Well, you know, I did it for all the kids, but Mosey was the one that wanted to hold my hand because, you know, like he wasn't a baby, but yeah, like we were buddies. You know, I guarantee half the shit he's not going to remember, but it's true. It happened. We were cool. And that's what hurt me more about what happened. It's not about right or wrong. I'll sincerely say I was wrong because I was. I played my part in that, and what I did was ending up and hurting him. And you know, I thought we knew enough about each other. I thought he knew how much I loved him. Well, maybe it's not that I, you know, anyway, it doesn't really matter. But like I said, if it'd been anybody else in the world, I wouldn't have thought, man, if I've lost Moses, I'll lose Simon. You know, maybe I've already lost everybody. You know, and all I could think about was, you know, Moses was going to ring Steph, and then Moses would have been valid. He was right. You know, but my ugly brain, my mental health, man, it's a cunt, honestly. It used to tell me things that on a on a mental thing, I mean, from an academic point of view or scholarly even, you know, I know it wasn't true. And what I love about Brendan is he's kind of like that fuck it kind of attitude. And I used to think, care for something, don't be. But and I ain't even told you about the bad things they do. Anyway, I was going to say, I'm going to tell you something about that. It wasn't. I wasn't killing myself because your Musa spoke bad to me. I was killing myself because I've never enjoyed anything in my life. And I know it's but remember when you did this? Oh fuck! I was happy as hell. But every time I got something or won something or did something, I just think, but I could have done better. Or if only I'd done this. So I've never really truly enjoyed my life. Never. Yeah, and I know we've done some fantastic things, and I know that there's been some wonderful things that I am incredibly proud of. But my health problem is my brain. No different from being asthmatic. No different from being a I was going to say an asthmatic, but I already said that one. I can't think of another one right now. But no different from a person with gout or diabetes or heart problem. Whichever part of the body that they're talking about is damaged. And for whatever reason, whether it's the heart, lungs, pancreas, what we do is we take medicine for that. But my brain's broken. And I need medicine for it. Because when I take the medicine, fuck. I don't know how the medication works. But it doesn't feel half as fucking good as weed does. You know why I don't think I've got a mental health problem anymore? And why I can say it confidently and pretty sure I could go off my pills? Is that the biggest problem that I used to have is I never saw value in myself. Everybody was going to be better off without me, kind of thing, I like making funny faces now because I've never actually seen what my funny faces look like. Because, you don't stand in front of the mirror and do this, but, See, Steph? Remember when we used to sit there and watch Georgia and Joya and Linda and they'd be talking about this and then they I think this is what we used to see. Tangents. And making these tangents that kind of help us understand a little bit more about what this conversation's about. So now I kind of get it. But my mental health isn't a problem anymore because it was always about not feeling good enough, not feeling valuable enough, not. So from the very time I got off that cliff, they said, oh, what happened? I said, oh, bro, your car went past and blah, blah, blah. And that made me, she turned up again. She was the one that got me off. I know what you're going to say. You think I haven't said it myself? She doesn't talk, so it's not like I'm hearing voices. But it's almost like she shares a energy. Like I kind of get this, I don't know. It's with my mental health. I was always scared that people would find out I'm a fraud. And the amount of times I used to try and speak Māori, and all I'd do was fuck it up, and it was horrible because, when I'd stand up and do this stuff. I remember I told Levi the other day, one of the biggest things that put me off the language was when I was trying to learn it and I was saying stuff because, Mum was deep in the deal. And so I thought, man, I want to go and do it. And when I said something, they were just kids. They didn't mean to hurt. It wasn't why they were doing it. I was trying to speak Māori and I was saying it so badly, they started laughing. And, as a kid, you would have thought that. But at the time, because I was mental, I tried to kill myself. When I think about it, it's probably more than 15 times. But what I'm saying is that my mental health problem used to need medication because it would help me. I don't know what it done. It kind of made me feel good for a while, but eventually it would come back, and I'd try to kill myself again. Probably, and then I'd stop. I wouldn't do it, and then I'd go home. So I'd be a bit cranky for a couple of days. But the beautiful thing about my husband is that, and this is the things you guys never saw or never understood, that sometimes my brain was attacking me, that even if people were trying to tell me good things, even when people were absolutely loving me and wanting to cuddle me and wanting to hug me and keep me close when I'm going through this worst stage, I no, no. And I used to say, yeah. I don't know why Simon makes me go to those places. Because it was easier playing being Simon and having to tell you guys the truth. That when I get that down, if I was at home and it was happening, Simon would leave me in the bedroom. He'd leave me alone so that while my head's sore and hurting and not good, I need some space where I'm not thinking. I'm not thinking of, oh, there's Steph's here. Oh no, she's gonna see how Leah's here. Leah's out arguing with Dar, and if I go on Dar's side, and Steph and Leah might not love me, but I know Simon will always love me, and so I'd go on your side because I always knew Simon would always forgive me because I loved him so much, and I've known that all these years. You guys think we've had the perfect relationship. You think Simon's controlling. Yep, Simon's controlling. Because when my mental health isn't, and it used to be so out of control that I'd forget to do things. I could go weeks without showering. I could stay up different to how I've been staying up lately, because there's been a very specific focus. And now that we're talking about people coming up to me, well, literally, I could get $2 million by chucking my plan up on the site. But what I understand about the stock market, and again, I'll wait till Monday when I catch up with KPMG and see if they've got somebody that can explain, like in layman's terms, what the stock market's like. Because if it is what I thought it was, and I've explained it to Steph and Stace, if it is that, then why would I want to waste 2 million shares for $1 and only get $2 when I know for a fact that on the international market that is fucking enormous, that what my job description is, job description, what the business plan that I created isn't. I now understand why people have been getting their eyes open. I didn't realize. I knew I'd written, like, what I thought. Okay, we do this in Opunake, and then we'll do another one over here, another one over here. Yeah. Oh, I think we should go to Australia and do 900 over there, First Nations. I came up with. I'll take me back to the water one, but because Simon's in Wales, we can go over there. But all I kept thinking was, but the business I'm starting here, because it was always about, not Taranaki. It wasn't about Taranaki first. It was about Opunake. Because I wanted to go home. I can't go home if there's no jobs. And beat this. I still kind of thought, I've done all this. Now I wonder what I can do as a job. Fuck, what can they? Oh, maybe I can work in the grow field. And it's like, it took me after I'd written up the whole plan, like right through, I kept thinking, fuck, what if I don't want to work in that part? And I was like, it took a while for me to go, it's your company. I mean, I can decide where I work. Yeah, I can. But the other thing is like I was telling Steph, I think I've told everybody, even the KPMG people, that I know this business plan. Like I gave birth to this business plan. Like even I know I've made decisions. And I know the decisions, Stephanie, you're not going to like that I've got Tina in. I know you're not going to like that I've got Tina in. All these other people. There's people I've let go. Not let go, but there's people who I said would be part of this that aren't good for me. I've distanced myself, and my Tongan mate. This is kind of cool, man. Fuck, I like this. I told him I needed. We were talking just loosely, and I was saying, "Oh fuck." I said, I've got to go and sell my phone. I'll get $500 for it. And the hardest part is we've got the budget, and Simon's got an incredibly, when they start paying him, I mean, he's officially doing the job. They're just not officially paying him for doing it. And so they're still giving him the old salary, which is still a very bloody good salary. But I forgot again. Shit. I better start telling the stories fast. I can't remember where I was, so I'm just going to flick straight back to the water story. If I remember where the break was, I'll come back to it. Part of the problem about building in the outbacks, or whether it's in the middle of Africa, why you've got the heat. You've also got the hot air. So even I was thinking, you remember when you got a plastic bag and blow it up and you tie a knot in it, and then if you leave it in the sun, all that moisture and condensation caused by condensation would kind of all collect in the bag. Well, yeah, people would think, wow, let's go commercial. Let's make this. How can we make a commercial option of what this is? And so what they used to do was, well, let's just make the bags bigger. Didn't work. So, well, I haven't heard a lot of it working, and they had the right idea. They just had it, I think, worked out the wrong way. If you don't need power to run or make water, like if you're not having to put down all these solar panels, and I'm only talking about solar panels because the other option's too expensive. I mean, you'd always go for the most cost efficient. So why, if you're not in the middle of a hot, arid area where there's lots of sun, use the sun, which means involving a power inverter, transformer, lithium-ion batteries down through to a junction that takes the air conditioning unit, that then powers it. Works. And go online, you'll see lots of places where they're helping generate water by solar power. But you still got to use power. But wait a minute. Plastic bag like that, and yet it can produce a cup of water? The problem isn't about making the bag bigger. I think it's still a plastic bag. There's just a fuckload of them. Like, as big as the space that you're in the middle of fucking nowhere. It's not like you don't have space. And because it's so far out and arid, nobody wants to get it. You'll get the land incredibly cheap. Water's always going to be the problem. And I just keep thinking, wait a minute, if I can get a cup of water from this in a day, I need to do 2, then I've got 2 cups. The problem isn't about this part, it's about how you get the water to a reservoir that can help store it. Doesn't matter about the temperature of it, but it does matter that it's thick enough wherever it is, because remember, it's still hot and arid. That it can be stored. Well, there's no way you can put storage tanks on the top. So you put them underground, because the opposite of what happens in cold temperature at the top is that it's warmer down below. Of course, when it's hot at the top, I think I know the reason, but let's not go into that. The temperature is going to be cooler under a hot, arid temperature. So if we know it's cooler down there, the only thing we've got to do is get the water down there. But how do we get the water out of these plastic bags? And what are we going to use because it's so far down? Well, what if that plastic bag, a funnel? You put the plastic bag up on top of the funnel. As the water starts to collect, it goes down the funnel, straight down to a holding tank. Now, you might think, well, shit, yeah, but, what if we start? Well, you wouldn't build if there was no water. So, of course, the first thing you would do when you go out there is put that water reservoir in. Well, and then, of course, what you start doing, because it's outdoor, you use a slow drip irrigation system. Check it out. Oh, honestly, I've got fucking... you can't pour water on the ground because as soon as it hits there, it's going to dry up. But we need to get the water down to the roots as quick as we can. So it's not about trying to wet the top of the plant. So like, okay, so over on that field, we've got plastic bags that drip into a funnel that collects that all these pipes kind of come into things and they go down to this reservoir at the bottom. Oh, you will need energy. Shit. Because then we've got to get that water back up. Yeah, but we could use, what do you call it? Oh no, that would depend on. I was thinking you could use a wind turbine, but then just because it's hot and air, it doesn't mean it's always going to be windy, and it's one of the things you got to be careful of. But maybe, I'll tell you what though, the only thing you'd be running on this is a pump to get back up. The photovoltaic batteries or solar panels they have now are amazing. I don't think you need a huge bank of them. And then you could still have a vertical wind turbine that helps supplement the power there. And then the only small power that you'll be using is to get that water to come straight back up and then water the plants. But as I was talking about earlier with water levels or water tables, there is nothing above because it's arid, hot ground. But when feeding the plants, as opposed to trying to, wet them from up here and the water going dry even before it gets to the roots, instead of piping that water up from the reservoir to here, we pipe it in right to the roots, like on every plant. Well, that lessens the amount of water. Well, I mean, instead of trying to pour 2 cups of water on top of the ground and hope that 20 mils of water gets to the roots, isn't something you have to worry. So it's almost like we're not using or we're not wasting 190 mils out of a 200 mil cup. We could get a pipe that can go straight to the roots. And it may be that, there's lots of roots and maybe they all kind of come out like this. So maybe the roots go down like this. Maybe it's then that we also have to have a cup around it that makes sure that the water and things don't go into the earth, but rather are held in a plastic cup that's got soil in it. I think anyway, if this worked, and I'm not saying it will, kind of helps us find a way of helping. I don't know if help's the right word. If the knowledge that we have can help our other First Nations people, I think it could work. Of course, we're going to have the opposite problem. I don't know if we're going to get to Canada, but that's see, the thing with weed over in Canada is, again, if we could get in there, and again, because we're part of the Commonwealth, because we're working in Australia, and because we're working in the thing, of course, people are going to say, hey, if your First Nations program work there, try and tell me that Canada's not going to just ask. Well, even worse, that we're not going to, we're going to go and approach them. Because while the big corporations, and you've got the big farms over there, one of which is going to come into New Zealand. People have been sending me these posts about Ngāti Porou. I'm so proud of them. So proud. And now, and they got the cannabis license. You know, it's what that iwi needed, and, like, they got onto it before anybody else, and, oh, man, I think it's beautiful, you know? I hope they can do more for the iwi and their well, no, not the iwi, for the whānau, for the hapu, and then, of course, to the whānau. But I almost think like I wanna fucking take all the iwi trusts to task and say, "You guys took all this money and said that you were gonna help your people, and this whānau over here in Taranaki," because remember, we're marketing this. We used to think, "Oh, no, we've gotta give it a nice white name," and, but I gotta admit, in the event if we had the choice between a Māori name and completely green, yeah, I like that name, and I like that it came from Stacey, and because I like that it has that double meaning, you know, it can be, "Oh, it's completely green. Oh, yeah," or it can be, "Yeah, this is completely green." You know, so stoners and 60-year-old Remuerites can look at it and go, "Oh, that's a nice name for a company. Why don't we go and see what's in there, Merrill?" You know, they've always got, you know. Anyway, you haven't worked out it. I digress. The water idea, I don't know if it can work, but it kind of makes sense. Maybe, you know, like maybe it doesn't work, but I think the difference between how I look at life now and how I was when I had a mental health problem was that she, she's with me. You know, like I said, I don't talk to her. I don't. It's not like it's some fucking weird mental. You know, oh no, Jay's hearing voices, or Jay's talking to people. I don't talk to her. I don't. Um, she's never talked to me. If that's anything. But she's getting older. I don't know what that means, but when I saw her originally, uh, when I met when I first met her, she was black hair, beautiful. I mean, something over here on her head. You know, I remember that. And it was on this side because it was on that side. I've never asked her any questions. I've never been scared. She never did scare me. You know, I thought, oh fuck, she's gonna get pissed off if mum's trying to drive her out of my body. Um, the times when she kind of hasn't been there, sadly, I suppose, when I would have really needed her. But those were the times, you know, where the worst part of my life happened. You know, like after something happens, you know, it's almost like confirmation that what you've done is over now. And like I said, it wasn't a feeling. It wasn't that I saw her. It was just like, even though when somebody's watching you, you can't see them because, of course, your eyes closed, but you can feel it. Well, that's kind of what it was, and that's what it's always been. She's helped me make decisions. Well, hmm, when I tried to jump off that bridge and jumped on the other side, she came to me before, and it was like the first time it had ever happened. First time. Before I left that night, um, I deleted everything that I'd written about this company 4 weeks ago. Oh, at least I think. Yeah, maybe five, maybe three and a half. Can't even remember what. Oh, well, I probably can, but shit, I've forgotten again. Was it that she doesn't? Oh yeah, since that attempt. Well, yeah, it was an attempt. Obviously, it was an attempt because if I'd fucking succeeded, I wouldn't be making this video. But sometimes I wonder if I did jump and I did die because I see her all the time, or I feel like her all the time. It's just like I've got like this shit. I mean, so we used to play with plastic bags and write them on the wall and throw them on the ground, and it just makes sense that oh well, the only thing it needs to do is go down and to pop a hole in the bottom. I mean, I can probably say I came up with that one, but I never studied a hemp additive polymer. I never studied anything around aluminum alloys. I mean, what the fuck? I don't even know what the fuck they are. I didn't. Well, yeah, I do now because I wrote it down. That's how I know it. I mean, I'm not joking. I'm not lying. Steph, I talk to you about stuff. How do I know that stuff? Well, I know how I know this stuff. I know. I'm not going crazy because I think, well, unless I am, and actually I'm in a hospital somewhere being tested on with electrocution. But I didn't know this stuff. I had to tell you guys all that. Oh, yeah, the only two things I remember, I can't even remember shit from school. I mean, I can't even remember long division. But I've got to stop lying. I'm not saying it's not coming from my brain. Well, because it is. It's not like, oh, you know what it could have been? I could be jumping on the internet at night and Googling in my sleep. And it's a possibility. It's not a probability. It's not probable, but maybe there was that movie where that guy got hit on the head, John Travolta, when next minute he's seeing all these things and making things happen. But it's not that. Look, I know this sounds crazy. Truth test me. What do you call it? I don't know. Where they put you through the machine and they ask you questions and it tells you whether you're lying or not. Fuck, a truth test. Funny, eh? Isn't that fucking weird? Think of that. I can't remember a word as easy as a lie detector. I have to describe it in its parts to, I know aluminium alloys and a hemp additive, a polymer, and that's gonna. I kind of thought, well, wait a minute. No, I didn't think it. She gave me this. I don't know how she did it. Maybe she was rubbing them on my testicles. I don't feel it. Should rub better next time, but I feel her inside me right now. Maybe it's the drugs. Maybe I've been smoking too much. come on, even if that's stupid plastic balloon or plastic, and it's, the old bread packets too is what we used to do them in. Because why? We were too poor ass to have balloons, so we used to sit there and get tied up. And that was little Maori's idea of a balloon, because we always had bread packets and shit. We used to use them for our lunch wrap. So maybe I could claim that one, because I was in a chat group today, and that's why the question, why the question. Hey, and I'll see if I can pull it up, actually, because somebody on this, I'll see if I can find it, growing indoors, mold problems. Where is it? Introduce yourself. Oh, I think it was on the introduce yourself one. Catalyst cannabis. Oh, yeah. There's someone called Lee Watson that works for Catalyst Cannabis, and they're out of Alaska, Anchorage. You know that movie, or that TV program about big crabs. I think that was Anchorage. Coastal. You believe I talked to somebody in? Well, yeah, I could be. He was talking about the other day about having problems with his flower, and some of the things about the flower was he was only getting like 8 to 12% of THC. 8% of THC should have said about 12% CBD. It's almost like he's wondering what he's doing wrong, because weed, good weed, there's anywhere between maybe good weed 21 to 28% THC. I mean, you get a lot more, of course, when you break those leaf down, because that's where even more THC is held. And with the crystals and trichomes that come off the rest of it, I mean, it's a really healthy amount to get anywhere between 21 and 28, because that's what you'd expect. So he's been running this farm down there for quite a while. And he put it out there, why am I not? Can anybody help me? This is what's happening. Blah, blah, blah. And so I started watching the comments, and people started asking him about this part, and he'd say, yeah, no, I've done this, I've done that. And it just seemed funny that, they were getting rid of all the wrong answers and failing to see the only option that was left. It's just like that process of elimination. They were doing that process of elimination. The problem was, because they didn't write the list down. Well, I mean, just because they didn't write the list down and then sat there and knocked them off one by one, because of the kind of way that the group was working, people were saying them, but no one was checking them off. And again, I know nothing about plants. I used to love it being at home, and Dad used to do those big, huge, colourful flowers. And man, that little turnaround area, that was full of flowers, and always had a nice grass, like I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah. So they'd kind of talked about everything, and the only thing I hadn't seen people talking about was water. And again, then everybody. Well, I won't say they didn't talk about water. they talked about pH levels in the water and the purity of the water. But no one talked about metals that are in the water and the concentrated parts of those metals. Because while, little fucking microbe of a bit of metal in a swimming pool doesn't make a difference. Well, it won't injure the plant, because it's only one. I mean, the chances that it's going to hit the root is impossible. But I just keep wondering, no. If that little piece of microbe in a swimming pool was found, and you think, oh, that's okay, but suddenly you're only talking about a teaspoon for one of these, and you feed your plants this water, or 6, but it's pure. Well, yes, because we weren't checking for metals. Oh yeah, but it's got the right pH levels. Yeah, but we know metals in water are microbes, and the amount of metal in a water, even at a molecular level, like anything, is going to make a difference. You can't. How did I know this, Steph? How did I know that? Never. Okay, well, I won't say never studied water when I was doing. I don't know if any of you guys know this. I graduated years ago, and it's only a certificate in agriculture. Because Mum and Dad took me down to. You guys don't even know this. Mum and Dad took me down to Waikato Massey University to look at the agriculture sector because well, they didn't know I was gay at that time, so they probably, I don't know. So I had to go along, and we had a look at the university, and this was not long after I got back from. I don't know, you guys remember? I took off to Tauranga to live. Took off down to Tauranga because me and Uncle Patrick at that time, because I still didn't know I was gay. I mean, Uncle Patrick had gone away. Well, we weren't Jay and Uncle Patrick. Simon, Patrick was living way the fuck over here, and we were still two very closeted guys. He had to go down to Wellington for a trip, and for the first time in my life, I found somebody that when they'd gone away, I missed them. But it was a guy. Started fucking with my brains in all kinds of ways. And so me and Patrick both agreed we've got to separate. We're not like that. We're Māori, we're this and that, and this is how we're meant to live. And I took off down to Tauranga. Tried to run away from everybody. And this is how I got caught and how they found me. Mum and Dad never really knew why I took off, and they were never really comfortable with it. I didn't know this, but they picked up Dwayne and Nick. I'd made a phone call down there. Well, they'd made a phone call up to me. And of course, I'd done one of those things where you make a toll call to a number. You don't have them nowadays. You had to call a toll service, and you had to push this number and that. I mean, it wasn't easy. Fuck. You guys think it's easy to use a mobile phone? You fuckers never would have been able to make toll calls back then. Shit. It wasn't like you just make the call and boom. And collect calls were even worse. You had to go through an operator. So on the phone bill that came up maybe 4 weeks later or whenever it came up, they saw the phone number to the gym. And the gym was owned by the guy whose brother I was flatting with. Because, I went down there just to get away and ended up finding a place and started doing kiwi fruit picking. And I worked out of that kiwi fruit picking thing 7 days a week. We were doing fucking long hours. But I didn't think about Patrick anymore. Well, I did. And so I came. Well, and I didn't come back. Mum and Dad came down with Dwayne and Nick, knocked on the door, and I opened the door, and there's Nick and Dwayne standing there. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? And they go, Nan and call it downstairs. They want to see you. Again, I didn't get scared. But, I went down, and that's when we talked about what was going to happen. I don't know how the fuck Mum convinced Dad to take probably the stupidest one in the whole fucking family to a university. I was sick. At least I think I was. Like, Steph, you've always been fucking intelligent, man. You knew that if you had a 50-cent lolly, that I could give you 2 20s and a 10, and you'd give me that. And I was better off because my coin was a higher price than yours. Didn't understand this. She got 3 lollies and I only get 1. Nope. I'm the man because I got a 50-cent coin. You only got 2 20s and a 10. So they took me down there and I said no. But I did say I'd go and do agriculture. Oh, I don't know how that happened, but I didn't want to go down to Massey to do a degree because that was 3 years of my life away, and I didn't want to be away from the family. Because I was in hospital for so many years. Man, I knew I did really well when I was in hospital. Like, you didn't have classes. You kind of had people that came. Well, you could go down to this room. You had elevator down from Princess Mary, Ward 31, and then you'd go along this corridor where you could see the sunlight and you could feel the air because it wasn't open. And then they'd wheel my bed into the school part downstairs, and I'd do work. And most of it was about self-learning. They used to have these books, and they used to have on this page would be plus, on the next page would be. I just sat there and did these books. I'll do one book. I'll do the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 10 or 11, I think is what I used to do a week. And so, like, when I got the end of one box, I thought, oh, well, just go on to the next box. Started doing that, filling out the answers. I knew I was getting them right. The answers weren't in the book, but you kind of thought, oh, come on, this wasn't that hard to figure out. They all felt like 1 + 1 equals. Freaked me out the day I kind of figured out that 1 + 1 equals 3. And that's that thing around synergy. That the power of 1 and power of 1 is more than its equal parts. I'm not clever. I'm not saying. I'm still a dumb little J that still can't figure out, simple shit. I've read the Bible. Lots of people read the Bible. Lots of people have found some beautiful stories. Just some fantastic poetry and touching stories. There's some. I don't know if it's. I can't remember them all, but I don't know if it's second Second Timothy's or Second Kings, it talks about, and I know I repeat the story, but talks about how these children, this man is walking along, and he's an elderly man, and his hair is thinning. These kids walk past, and he asks God to exact his revenge. And two female bears come out of the forest and slaughter 42 children. And at the end, he says, "Thy Lord, gather me now of thy passion." Or, something like that. I'm not going to claim to have a photogenic or eidetic, which is more apt, because photographic memory only remembers the things you see. Photo. Whereas, again, not word for word, because I'm still a fucking Maori, that, what most scholars, and there's still a large field of debate around that whole thing, around really what do we mean about when we're talking about eidetic memory. Is it thing memory, or is it eidetic memory, or is it just... So if you photograph it like this stage, I could take a photo of the screen and then, oh, yep, that's it. But that's all I can ever tell. I can tell what I saw. The field of thought that's still happening right now, and this is probably where some of the large debates are, is around an eidetic memory, not just being able to remember what it sees, but that ability to, when you walk into when I go to Steve's place, if there's a pot of boil up for next time I come down, for example, the smell of it. Good night, son. That's my beautiful son. Anyway, there's some debate around how much that eidetic memory is. You smell something and it reminds you of things. You hear a song and it reminds you of that. You see a story or you see a word, and people do it all the time. You'll see the start of the word or the middle of the word or part of the word. And what your brain tends to do is to assimilate it to the first word that you can recognize that would have those words. It's not that you've read the word. It's that your mind in a quick instant will make sense of that word, rather than try and get you to read the whole word, or blah, blah, blah. Like the word inappropriate. You kind of, when you look at that word, you see the ins and the P's there and the RIAs and the T. You don't read, you may not even see that much. I mean, you might see the in, op, 8, and figure out it's, inappropriate. So eidetic memory kind of starts saying, well, it's not just it's one thing. That the smells that we remember, our olfactory senses, are just as much important about our ability to recall memories, because we're using such... I know I talk too high sometimes. I don't know if I'm talking high now, but it's the memory has layers. Eidetic memory, and that's... I mean, I know you can go to the library and they'll say, no, this is what eidetic memory is. I think the next kind of avenue about where they go with memories and the ability to recall them is still where a lot of research is. I don't think they've mastered it in any sense, because I think they were still missing out so much. Like They've gone for the five straight senses: the sight, smell, taste, um, hearing, and touch. And then of course the sixth sense. Uh, and I kind of think there's actually nine senses. I think the sixth sense is that ability to sense danger, isn't it? Like when when we used to lay down and Moses would come in the morning and go, and you could be asleep, and I've said it before, and just know someone's there. That's what I think the sixth sense is, it's that kind of stuff. And I check Google. I don't think you're going to find people that agree with my seventh or eighth ones. There's a central line that runs right through the middle of the body. I mean, everybody knows that because it's like if you were to hold a string from the center of a person's head and hold it straight up, there would be a line that would exist. And they call it a phantom line. They call it a central line. It's just the kind of point that if you seventh and eighth senses, my kind of idea of what a seventh sense is, still doesn't touch spiritual. I mean, I think it's the deja vu stuff, the body memory. It's the cutting your leg off and still feeling it. It's we know that the brain can fool itself into seeing and believing things. Well, my seventh sense is kind of that stuff. Like I think for too long, people have been putting it to mental pathways from the brain to whatever that is, and kind of thinking that it still exists. Anyway, that it still exists, and but I kind of think that's more than that. Anyway, and then there's number 8. I wrote something. I got a box of stuff that I've written. And I was telling Steph about this idea. As opposed to building up, making these ugly, grey, big blocks that we would go and put in the middle of our beautiful fucking whenua. Fuck off. I mean, when you go out to Pariaka and you see those little mounds, the last thing I would think about doing would be flattening them to put a building in. Nah, go down. I mean, there's going to be a problem with air circulation. I mean, it's going to take a little bit more energy to get that air down there because we're talking about air. Anyway. None of the stuff is mine. Because before 4 weeks ago, I mean, I know shit. I know. I had the big scare in my life a few years back. They found a dark spot on my brain. Had to go for MRI. And of course, I didn't tell you. Think I haven't fucking panicked you guys enough? Being sick as a kid and good pasture syndrome. It's 2 minutes from death. And I had it happen again, and it was attacks and this and that, and When I was in the hospital, should have cried every night. Kids used to come into that ward every day, and every other kid left. Terence was in the same bed I was in. That was. No, it sounds really dumb, but that was kind of cool. It was cool when I found that out. Yeah, it was the one connection with Terence that I thought was cool. I mean, it's not like we shared the same girlfriend, but uh, oh, I love Jackie. I wish we'd have gotten to her sooner. Anyway, I was going to say I digress, but this is now 1 minute 36 minutes and 13 seconds. And this was meant to be a short one. I do a lot of tangent stuff. I don't know. I think I lost my track back there once. And where I don't know if I got back onto this. Anyway. I've never been quite the same. I never ever felt. And you look at our photos when we were kids. I used to hate my photos. I used to hate my hair. I looked at, I used to think Tony was the man. I used to watch him running around and, he'd go and do stupid shit. And I was sitting there going, wow. He never told me. I'll tell you one thing though. It was me that put the dirty book underneath your bed. I didn't actually put it there to get you in trouble. I put it there because I heard Mum coming and I didn't want it under my bed. Like we didn't have blankets that went to the floor, so if you flick something under the bed, if you stood in a certain place in the room, it wasn't going to be hard for Mum or Dad to see it. Yeah, fuck. And they were saying, you should age. Because I was like 7, maybe 6. I mean, it was your book. You were just clever enough to not bring it into the house. What you weren't clever enough to do is to tell me not to do it. Because come on. We were the only people that used to jump the fence wasn't even up back then. It was like, that's when we used to just go straight over there. There was no fence between to the creek, so we could just run across, and you guys used to run across, and Tony would be running in, and man, he used to be my hero. Oh man, fuck. And then I thought he was like the awesome dad. Fuck, I love the way he would. I mean, he was so fucking proud when Alicia came home drunk. But that's what you get when it was a special night that night in more than one way. There was a party going on that was Sibylla celebrating some stuff, and I can't remember what it was. But Alicia was born. I mean, I don't think Tony was always the perfect person. Look at me. I'm not perfect. None of you fuckers are. But to me, he was. I went to a party with him one night and I got stupid because I was too young. And plus, alcohol's no good for our people. Alcohol's not good. But alcohol with me specifically isn't good. And sometimes, and a lot of times, we used to have a good time when I was drinking. But I had too many ugly nights. I don't get that on weed. don't get that on weird. I mean, I think I have to keep away from Moses. I have to keep away from Levi. And don't get me wrong, you fucking try and say I'm doing it because I don't love them. They do bullshit. It's because I love them. I'm not gonna go there. Because I don't know how to talk to them anymore. And I think I'm like Steph knows. I explained to her what I did to Levi. And Moses. Yeah, but I said I'm sorry for what I did. And I mean it too, man. Fuck. Bawled my eyes out, all night after I left Moses. It was the most tragic thing that had happened to me. My boy, but not my boy. I heard him. I'm mindful of what I've done, but it doesn't hurt anymore. I know when I said sorry, I meant it. When I said it to Levi, I didn't expect him to apologize. To forgive me. He was angry, because I'd hurt his feelings. And I didn't have a right to do that. And that's why, even with Simon now, man, he's still my darling. He's still the most important thing to me. But anyway, I digress. But now that stuff, like, now, I'm not saying I don't care. I'm saying that I can only say I'm sorry once, because I am. But I'm not going to convince you. I'm not going to bend over and kiss your ass, and I'm not going to blah, blah, blah. I'm going to say sorry. And I'm not just going to say, oh yeah. I don't want to do that. And I really am sorry. I mean, I rang Mum, and I wanted Mum to know what had happened. Because I wanted someone to let Levi know that I had no right to step on his dreams, and that I disrespected him in front of his child and his wife. And when I said I'm sorry, I meant it, as I did to Moses. But don't I deserve an apology too? I'll gladly accept my half. But that's all I can accept. Half of it was my fault. And I apologised. I don't expect an apology. I think I deserve one. But as you know, what you want and what you deserve is two different things. I want to win lotto. But I deserve to just have what I've got. And while before it never used to be a lot, going back to this tupuna, but she's not from the Taranaki side. I don't know where she's from. Maybe she might be a fucking black pom or brown pom, should I say. She ain't black. She's definitely Māori. No Kauai. But she used to be like thin like Donna. Yep. She's still thin, but like thin, like a thin framed woman. The hair kind of fell and then cascaded down, but it looked like it was I don't know. It looked effortless, you know. Um, she's got very fine features, like very, um, not a long face, but a very, well, mine's fat. But her face is quite, it's actually, well, she's not like what you'd call beautiful, but like, not ugly, not the best looking one, but she's beautiful, you know, like a homely girl, you know, but a bit nicer. You just heard what I'm saying, but it's, she was the one that told me about the polymers, I think. But I don't think she's like a recent one. Like, I don't think she's like a grandma or great grandma. Can't remember her clothes. But then again, she used to have straight black hair, and over the years, when I saw her, when I saw her, when I was on the bridge, coming off the bridge, it was like seeing, your senior-old mate that you haven't seen for years, but as opposed to turning up with that nice clean black beard and it's pulled back skin and better skin colouring when they were younger, suddenly I turn up. But you still recognise me. I might have a greyer beard. I might be looking a little older, but you know who you're looking at because you know them. And I was surprised at how much older she's gotten. Sorry, how much older she's gotten. There's, I've never like I didn't think they'd get older. I thought if you saw a ghost of a 40-year-old that if you saw a 40-year-old ghost when you were 40 years old, and then when you get to 80, the ghost's got to 80. Don't ghosts don't age. Fuck, like I've seen them. Like people talk about. I don't know. And maybe it's how my brain is fucked up and it's projecting, I suppose, an image to my cerebral cortex. It's just suggests that this much further down the line, I would, bar a hematoma, that I'd be able to, but I wouldn't have thought she would have got older. And maybe the brain lesion's back. Oh, I didn't finish that. My, I can't remember who I told. There's lots about that part of my life. I can't remember if I even told anybody that there was was it, I think I told people it was a tumour. If I told anybody. It wasn't, it was a brain lesion, and it was close to the brain stem. It's gone. It's gone. I know how this sounds. And it's there was some stuff that's happened since I was very young, like, these huge blocks from I remember one moment when I was about 3.5, and I came down the hallway on Nani's bike with Jonas, and when I turned to go around the corner, I came in too close, and you know, like how they used to have those they used to have that bar that would go through the wheel and it stuck out a bit. And when I came around the corner, I hadn't gone wide enough and it chipped like a chunk out of that corner. Of course, it was the most fragile place uh, without any structure because back then we didn't use the supporting edges like you do now. But I can remember that happening. I can remember going down. There's almost like these parts of my childhood that, and people. I remember heaps about Narnia. I remember heaps about Steph. I know Tony, but and even for a large part of my life, there was like lots of time when I can't remember Tony. Like, and I think like Tony was telling me it was when he went to Napier or something, or he went down to Palmerston North. Never did know where he lived. I mean, Dad told me later on. And I think Dad told all of us what happened. You know, Mum and Tony weren't getting on, but it was the saddest day of Dad's life when he had to go down to the bus station or the train station, you know, and he dropped Tony off, you know, he said his goodbyes, and I really cried nearly all the way back to the house. It was the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. But I wasn't there. Physically. There's always been these kind of things that happen. I remember when Pate died. Steph will remember this. I fucking hope she does. I rang her up. Like I kind of was just. It was as real what I saw as it is looking at my ugly face on the screen. 12 hours later, John died. You know, not about 12 hours. Exactly 12 hours. From the time I woke up and told Steve. The time ain't coincidence. Maybe those lottery ticket numbers that I didn't take were a coincidence. I don't know. This all started off with about talking about this little water idea, the plastic bags, and putting it down all that way. This isn't even the real water one that I wanted to talk about, but I should have finished the water one I was originally going to talk about in 10 minutes. It's almost 2 hours now. Just me. I'm not changing. Kind of feels cool to kind of finally get this stuff out. But I don't know how I know this stuff. I mean, I got a phone call from Lisa from Okra Business today. And she looked at my plan and she gave me some critical feedback. And I was expecting a lot of it. Her feedback was, It's big, and there's a lot, and we can see that there's enough validity in it right now to take it to the next level, just as it's written. Somebody might edit it and make it sound like it, make the speech, fix it up so it's on the, like, because I just write. I'm going to try to write to the market, you know. So Lisa, Okra Business has worked with the Ministry of Education around helping people start their businesses. Like, I remember, Steph, you were talking about this Māori business course. That's what Lisa does. Well, not Māori. Well, she's Māori. And Kanawa, or Kawana, is Māori. Well, obviously Māori too, but they just did business courses, but they wanted to do this business courses with Māori. They never ever said they were Māori business courses, but they do courses for supporting Māori who want to do their business. I sent her what I told her was, oh yeah, this is my business plan. Fuck, it was, and it was the muck around one. Because I didn't mind you critiquing the fuck out of that. Didn't mind anybody critique. I mean, I've sent you guys all the bullshit version. Because before, when I could easily get hurt because of my health, I didn't need that now. Like now I can send you the right version. It's still pretty much everything that's in there. But it outlines how we get into China. Like the other one just, it's 4 lines, 6 lines. It's New Zealand, Australia, and actually what we should be doing with Australia is breaking that down to the states, like New South Wales, Victoria, blah, blah, blah. Because it's going to be a lot easier for us to manage it through the states as an individual state than what it would be for us to try. I mean, look how fucking large it is. We know if we're going further up by the Bungle Bungles that we're actually looking at more farms closer together because that's quite a tight-knit community around that area. How would I know this? It is. Well, check it. How do I know that? Well, remember years ago these Aboriginals came over. This was before me and Mum. I didn't think we smoked weed that day. I didn't know even if we smoked. But we'd never actually seen Aboriginals before. I mean, look at the size of our nose. That's pretty fucking huge, like most fucking yachts don't have a pointed shit like thing like my nose. At least it looks like it. When these Aboriginals walk out, their fucking noses were out to here, like their nostrils. And of course, me and Auntie Steph, being very respectful and very aware that it's important we, show proper respect. Fucking pissed ourselves seeing these fucking large ass noses. I mean, you know how they used to go, this is how they made Maori? Well, with these fucking Aboriginals, it was like this. These fuckers had nostrils. Well, the only 2 bloody women, I think they were women, I'm pretty sure, yeah, that Steph had billeted from this group. One of them was for the Bungle Bungles. I mean, I know that. I don't know how. I've never been there. I didn't think I checked it out. Maybe I checked it out. Maybe I looked about where it was, and maybe I started finding about. Maybe I just can't remember it because, like I said before, It's a lot of shit I don't remember. 2 hours now. Fuck. Anyway. I don't know if I'm going to let anybody see this. But, I'm not crazy. But things have happened to me. Things are now happening to me. I know stuff. I read. You know, oh, no. It's not no. I'm not going to do this. I got this funny feeling that I'm not fucking spooky. Yes, spooky things are happening to me. But I kind of think, and I tell this to everybody, and I don't know if they understand what I mean, but this is not for me. It's for my kids. It's for my husband. It's for my family. I think everybody used to think that I was doing this for Taranaki. Nope, I'm not. The values of this company is going to be built on, I don't know if it's Taranaki or if it's Ngati Wetinga. I mean, the whole time I've been doing this stuff, it's felt like Ngati Wetinga. And it feels like it because it's just meant to be there. I am 100% confident in the decisions I'm making. 500%, 1000%. Like I'm not saying I never make mistakes and every decision I make is the right one. No. I specifically put this company in my name. Not because I want the control, but because you guys don't know her. Like, I don't really know her. I'm not mental, I swear. But she, or a very effeminate he, has, I've made decisions like I wanted my mate Toko. I wanted my mate Sophie with me, right beside me. Because that's where it started. And I think I should, and I think it's commendable, but I can't have them there. Love Jordan, man. Jordan and Cat. Love Cat. But I can't have them where I'm going now. I want Sophie. I don't want Toko. And it's not that I don't want him, it's just that there's an energy that we're not. Me and him used to be like this. And I don't think it's there anymore. We used to always talk about, he'll show you the road. But it's you who's got to walk it. Like, he can only help you so much. No, fucking, I've never been religious. I've never been. Actually, even with all this stuff happening, I still think I'm a complete atheist. There's no one that's going to be able to tell me that there is a God. God from the Bible, even. Jehovah. Can't believe in that one, no. But I can bear my heart on my hand on my heart and honestly say that the things that I've been feeling are maybe not from God. I mean, she's an amazing person, but I don't think that's where it came from. This isn't Yahuwah. This isn't God or Jehovah. This is somebody that knows me or knows my line. She's been helping me. Oh God, I fucking hear myself. What she's done for me in the last 4 weeks, especially the last 4 weeks. I ain't got time to talk about all the other times she's come, but from the time she got there before, I was ready to let go. I was ready to jump. Every other time I wanted to kill myself, it was always that fear and trepidation. Like this one felt like, you know, you're finally going to get released. And not because I wanted to get away from her. I don't know if I'd said before, but when I'm in trouble, she's not there. This time I was in trouble and she turned up. She helped me. I deleted my business plan, and in 4 days, not only had I written twice as much, I'd written more. I don't know what this polymer bullshit is, but it'd be worth checking out. I now know about patent law too, because you got to patent your ideas even if they're only an idea. The fact that it might not turn into something, or might, is what you'll find out. But if you don't lock that idea down and somebody else sees it, they can patent it. I hardly think a plastic bag and a funnel that puts the water down into a thing with a vertical wind generator, as opposed to having those big ones. You have these small cylindrical ones that they don't spin as often because they're generating power at lower speeds. Anyway, I kind of say I don't think I've got a mental health problem anymore because I don't have to deal with negative things anymore. It's part of the reason why I'm keeping away from Moses and keeping away from Levi. Because right now, when I talk about my business, or um, we don't, I don't want to get down that track. I'm not saying I can't catch up with you and I'm never going to talk to you. It means that I'm going to come over to your place, give you a hug, spend a few minutes, and I'm going to go off and do some other stuff. And when I go over and see this person, I'm going to stay with them a lot longer because the stuff and the content and the quality of the stuff that we'll talk about ultimately helps us to reach the goal. And this goal is not about being held back. But while I'm at a place where I can move past that, I can't afford to hear no. You know, like, you don't know Dan. He could be at risk. It could ruin our company. Well, just because I know Stacey doesn't mean that she couldn't do the same kind of risk. I've honestly mitigated a lot of the risk with the things that I do, but the people that I choose are the people that I choose. She ain't going to let me make a mistake. Think it. Plus, no one knew I'd made this until I started telling you, sharing, I shouldn't say. Oh, it doesn't matter. Displaying, presenting, no matter what the word is. We get too caught up in words. Everybody I've picked for a very reason. I've got Stacey as, and again, titles. Stacey's going to help with the now stuff. Only as much as I love you, the job that CEO when that company comes around isn't new yet. Because honestly, I thought that the guys over at Growers Network were millionaires. When he was talking about having a Lamborghini, I just always assumed it was a new one. And I don't know. I didn't, you think, well, you've got this international company that's or national for America company that's been building these things and blah, 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 And so I just naturally thought, well, I know what the numbers are over here. And we've got a very small market. Surely once you get into America, that market just explodes even more. I thought it would have given you more opportunities. And understanding that in California, and both Los Angeles and Los Angeles isn't everything that you see out the window because, anyway, it's a big city. Biggest place I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if it is the biggest, but let's face it. Everything looks busy when you're looking at the first class seat of a Boeing 747, shit. Yeah, first class. Oh, that's right, yeah. You did this little thing where one day you were with your sister saying goodbye to the airport, still waiting for somebody to run out and go, ticket's fake. It's not really yours. To getting told to go in standard first class. And so embarrassed, I said, look, can't I just go through this way? Oh, yes, you can, of course, sir. Cool, I'll do that. Can you get my bags over there, please? Porter came and got them later on. Anyway, I flew first class from Auckland, New Zealand to Los Angeles. LAX. It's a cool place. A lot smaller than I thought. And big, obviously. But every time I used to think of America before the first trip was that I used to think, they used to say, oh, everything's bigger over there. Well, the cars were big, but I weren't that big. There was some fucking idiot-sized F-250s and really long ones. Like I'd never seen so many stretch limos in my life. And during that thing, we went down Sunset Boulevard. I'd never seen so many hookers in my life. Hookers, prostitutes. Anyway, what was your black ass doing in first class? Why were you going on a 30-day cruise? Why was it all paid for? And it didn't sound like you had to have sex with anybody, which I didn't. I helped one person one day who had fallen over. And all I did was help him up, help him find a seat, sat down with him for a while, and she was for a long time, But it always feels like it's only a short time because, in relative time to the length of your life, it's minor. A half an hour conversation anyway. blah, blah, blah. Sat down and checked that he was okay, and then I started, us Hawaiians, 2 hours, 15 minutes, 11 seconds, love to talk. We don't always talk about ourselves. But the things that we can do as orators in our family is that we can tell a story about Ulikawian, both interesting, funny, and memorable. So here I am talking to this American old guy who fallen over, and while there were people around, nobody went to help. Maybe if somebody had helped him, they would have been the one that got the trip. I don't know. I brought back a watch, Guess, Guess. I didn't know what Guess was. It had an amazing blue screen, and it had this, what I thought was like a stone. It was a diamond. Well, it still is a diamond, I suppose, because I still have the watch. You know why one of the girls got me the watches? Oh, yeah, on cruise ships, there's like on our ship, there was, I think, about 6, maybe 8 different restaurants. They were open 24 hours a day or certain evenings. But you had what was like the banquet hall, where if you had paid a certain amount of money, you sat closer to the captain. Obviously, the more you paid, the closer you get to him. It's just, you've seen the old movies where, the hoity-toity people are always up with their table. I know you're not going to believe this, but, guess where I was sitting? I got hungry for New Zealand beer because they had fucking disgusting beers. Like, I mean, they had a lot, but they didn't have anything that I knew. And I've forgotten who my butler was. I can't remember that. I can't remember his name. I feel kind of pissed off too because he was such a nice guy. I didn't. They used to call me Mr. Ohio. It didn't matter what I said, they were going to call me Mr. They had to call me Mr. something. Well, I think they always had to put Mr. in the front of whatever they said. And it took me days to try and say, no, Mr. Ohio was my father. It's just Jay. So they used to call me, yes, Mr. J. And okay, well, that's cool. At least I'm not Mr. Ohio, but, when we were coming out of Maui, depending on, I don't know whether the staff must roster who goes off. I never saw. Shit, I was almost going to say his name. It's got a B name in it or something. It's not Bernard, but where was he from? Anyway, both my butler and my cleaner must have had the same days off because when I'd gone into Maui, I'd got one of those little. It's like it was kind of like a doom buggy type of thing, but it wasn't like a moke. But it was, one of those things. It was like an island hopper. Actually, fucking hell, it was called an island hopper. There's some stuff I can remember. And they were going to town. Or it's not like for us, it's okay because where the port is, you just pull straight in and everybody gets off and there's the city. And places like Ensenada, when we pulled in, it was a good 10-minute walk. I mean, you could see the town from the boat, but once you get down to the ground level, you kind of realize how far it is. And it was a good walk. It was a lovely walk. I mean, fuck's sake, I was in Mexico. It took us 4 days to go from Mexico to the Big Island. Well, I mean, we left out of Long Beach, LBC, Long Beach, California. So it's something when we were leaving shore, I didn't have anybody that was going to wave out to me, and I kind of thought it was a bit pointless to be standing there waving back at someone that. So I thought, oh, there's some spa pools up on the top of the top deck. It's not Bernard. I almost said his name again. His part of his job was to make sure I was familiar with the ship's layout. The other people got a map. And I wasn't the only one that had a Bernard got. No, it's not Bernard. It's not Bernard. Maybe I'm thinking Butler. Yeah. Wait a minute. I don't like calling him Butler because it almost feels like slave. But I mean, he was awesome. Other than that Mr. J shit. Maybe that was part of their contract. I hate to say it. One thing I didn't. Oh my God! Wait a minute. When I left New Zealand, the last thing I did was I flew in from somewhere. I think I flew in from Christchurch. Because I was living down. Yeah, I was living in Christchurch. I'd flown into Auckland, and when I got into Auckland, because remember I was still a student, I had no money, but I'd managed to raise $1,000. Managed to come up with about 800, and I borrowed a couple hundred from a couple of mates because I thought, oh yeah, 800, change it over to American. At that time, it's $400. I went to the toilet after I got off the plane, and I lost my wallet. I lost it. I mean, it didn't matter about the other cards that were in there. I was going to be. I mean, either way, I had my passport and the tickets for the hotel and the ones for the ship and the return flights from Hawaii back to LA. Anyway, I had them all, and the only thing I lost was my wallet. So I was gonna. This was before I left. It was when I flew up, and I don't know if I told you guys. I don't think I did. Because I remember, didn't you drop me off? Or did you meet me there? Yeah, that stuff I can't remember. I think you took me. Or you met me there. Anyway, I had no money on me. All I had was these tickets and these first class flights. I thought, well, fuck it. If I get all the way over there, and they already said you get free food here, and I thought, well, if I could just sneak a bit onto a plate, then when I get there, it'll all be good. See, when I got to when you go to the ship, there's all these people outside, and they tell you to get your tags ready and write them down. And literally, when you pull up in your car, the people from the boat grab all your bags, and off they go. And there's this big long line. I mean, fuck, there's like, I can't remember how many. It was the Sapphire Princess. At that time, it was the newest boat. It had just finished doing the tour around Europe. Oh, no. Yeah, the tour around Europe. It had just finished its first circuit and then was getting sent down to the Pacific. I mean, I found this stuff out, by Barabbas. Butler. Anyway, Um, I wasn't in that line. Apparently, one of them, because of the numbers I'd written, and that's the information they told me, because the room number that I was getting, it kind of must have meant that, oh, you're that number, okay. And none of this was told to me, though. Like, it's almost as soon as I looked at my bag, this person come flying over, which was, uh, remember that movie, Love Boat? That girl, Julie, she was um, she was the person that organised all the events. And, she was the one that, started the games and all that stuff. Well, I met them first. And she talked about, I had to fill out a profile way before. What do you like, what do you don't like, blah, blah, blah. And because again, I knew a little Maori boy growing up in Taranaki, when they said, what kind of drinks do you prefer? I put, L&P. I wasn't a Coke person back then, Probably could have said Fanta. There's some stupid reason I said L&P. You know what kind of breakfast I would have asked for. And there was nothing on that whole trip that I couldn't ask for. To the point where I missed home. And I said, Barabbas. Told him, oh man, you know what? Yes, Mr. J. Yes, Mr. J from the other girl. So, oh man, I miss home. We'd only been on the trip by that time, about 14 days. And it wasn't like I fucking didn't have something to do every single day. And man, the people that were at my table, when I was at the captain's table, I was at the captain's table. And one of the ladies, oh man, we didn't have phone cameras back then, and I didn't have a digital camera back then. Because I'd lost my money, I think I couldn't get any film. And it wasn't until we got halfway through the trip that one of the girls at the table, who looked like Nancy Reagan, well, earlier she got me the watch because she was a bit concerned that, Jay, if you don't have a watch, how are you going to get back to the ship on time? We love you. We don't want to miss you, leave you behind. So she went off and bought me a watch, the Guess one. No, she was a bit concerned. Like, oh, you haven't taken any photos. And I said, I'm saving these memories in my head. Yeah, didn't want to tell her I'd run out of money or I had no money. I was kind of lucky because with the ticket that I got, it's like you get all your food for free, and you have to pay a surcharge like $20 or kind of if you wanted to go to the shows. And they had some amazing shows like big cabarets. And there was a cigar room there. I don't know how that worked. You couldn't have cigar houses in the States. You could do it outside, but you weren't allowed to do it within a closed space. But I kind of thinking about it now, I suppose, because we're out in international waters, international law prevails. So what one country may say, even if you're traveling between it, i.e., if you go from Big Island to Maui to, if you go from Big Island to Maui to Oahu, you're still in the same state. But because of the trip that the boat takes, it goes out a bit. I was going to say Barabbas again, but he taught me so much about that ship. He had to show me how, like, he told me the fire alarm was going to go off and that he was going to show me the way to go. And We went down these corridors and we ended up at this part of the ship that was the whole back of the ship went down. And it took fucking forever to do it. But it was like ship was cruising along. I don't know what the speed was, but when this thing went down, it was like being on a deck. But on the water. So anyway, the only person who has photos of me on their cruise is everybody else I was with. Because I didn't have any other things like I knew you had to take a suit, but fuck, I only had one. It was the boys that did it this time. Come on, Jay. Love your suit, but it's black and white. No, my suit was navy blue. I didn't have a bow tie because all I took was a tie. They didn't buy it. I refused to let them buy it. And I mean, it's bad enough I took the watch. I took photos of them too. Their cameras were nice. And we really connected. Like, these rich people aren't any different from us. I mean, they really do put their pants. I mean, Nancy was fucking rude, you know? I mean, not when her husband was there. I can't remember what his name was. I want to say Bill or Phil, but, you know, like, I went over tonight to a girl called Jelane's house. Man, she's disgusting. From the outside, I yelled out, "Put the fucking jug on, bitch. I want a cup of tea." And in a high, shrill, she yelled out, "Get your own fucking coffee. You know where the kitchen is, cunt." She's a foul-mouthed, filthy bitch who's got an amazing heart. You know. And she was like Jelaine, but white version. Yeah, she didn't say the cunt word. But she, yeah. You know, her and Jelaine, I reckon, would have fucking got on like a house on fire. Other than Jelaine was, you know, poor ass, black ass nigga like me. Well, Nancy was the opposite end. But it's like when I think about this whole program, this whole putting all this shit together, it is never, I know it's easy to kind of say, not about money, but money is only a resource. It's not why you do stuff. And if you're doing stuff because you want to get more money, what are you doing with it? Collecting it? That's being a hoarder. I mean, you're no different from a person that keeps collecting and collecting rubbish and rubbish and rubbish and filling their houses up to the very top. Bags of defecate, no, bags of shit. You know, you've seen those things, and those disgusting rooms. That it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You're so fixated on what it is. You love it so much that you want to collect it. Just so you can say to the person next door to you, "I've got more than you." I've said right from the start, I'm not going to take a salary. I'm never going to take a salary from this. And it's going to make millions and trillions of dollars. I'm sure somebody's going to help me buy a house. I'm sure somebody's going to buy me a car, Lamborghini. Maybe, maybe someone else will. Oh, no, well, I'm going to lease my. Shut up. I'm going to lease the cars. That's how I'm going to get my cars. I might have to buy a Lambo, but I don't want a Huracan. I'd love the Aventador. I'd fucking love for a Reventon because my boy's got me a Reventon. And I'd love to have one the same colour. And I just touch on that for a little bit too. I know everybody because of the way my mind works. You know, I used to come back and I used to tell you what the cause of the problem was. Oh, fucking Brandon's doing this, and Shelford's doing that, and Simon's doing that. And it wasn't them. It was my mental health problem. You know, I was unwell. And the first thing I thought it was, well, I didn't know it was me, so it must be everybody else. But it wasn't. It was me. And like I said before, some days I gave that Shelford for nothing, really. Brandon, same, I gave him hiding. I'm not saying they didn't deserve it. Yeah, they didn't deserve it. Max I got a hiding was twice. And yeah, really, they weren't that bad. I got the strap at school. That was worse. But my boys, my sons, have helped me get through my mental illness. You know, they've had to see me at my worst. Things that you guys haven't seen. Screaming horrible things. Oh, fuck, I was mean. It wasn't who I was. It isn't certainly who I am now, but my kids are my kids. They are a part of me just as much as your kids are part of you. And I never told you this, but you know, when you guys used to say really mean, well, not mean things, you know, when you say stuff like, oh, how's your idiot son? He's my son. I might not have been the actual person that made him or created him. You know, when it comes to Brandon, very first moment I heard his story. Oh, I heard his story first. Yeah, we didn't see the photo. We didn't see the photo until they told us about him. I have loved that boy. Like I've wanted to, you know, I love that boy. Like he's mine. You know what, Fano? I don't disrespect your children, and if I do, tell me. But please don't do that to my boys anymore. They're fucking idiots. Yeah. Fuck you, fuckers were. I fucking was. Steph, you were not an angel. Tony was, you know. It's not about, you know, we all cunts. But I tell you what, I love my kids. I love my kids. I love Brandon. You know, I love Shelford. Fuck. And then on top of it, I get to top it off with a beautiful daughter. But no more. Please. It's Brandon caught up with Ronald Hood after the Tungy. You know, because Brandon's a good mate of his. And it upset Brandon when he says, So what's wrong, son? So Ronald said, "Oh, you mates with him, or he's something, or that fucking egg." And I was like, it hurt his feelings. I don't know if it was meant to hurt his feelings. I didn't think that's what I was meant to have done. I mean, but it hurt my son's feelings. And like you're going to be protective of your kids, and you're going to be protective of your kids. And I can't tell you this stuff. One, because I don't want to get into an argument about it, but But two, there's a part of me that just wants to say, please love my kids like I love them. Or please love my kids like I love yours. Love my kids like I did some bad things with the Arfido children. I wasn't always good. I mean, when those kids played up, I came down hard on them. Like, fuck you kids. You're going to play up like this shit? That's it. You only get chips, ice cream, a drink, and no fucking lollies. Take that. And I've been wanting them to have fun with their cousins. And I want them to have fun with your kids. Like I want my kids. Actually, it's quite funny. I was going to say, I want my kids to know how much I love your kids. You always show me the love. And so, when you say those things to my kids, it's like, it's okay. I love you. And I know they love you, but, they don't understand. They think it's your fault that I'm sick, because when you do this and I get sick, they just think that you made me sick. They don't understand that I was already sick. The reason me, Shelford, and Brandon connect so much better is we've all got a mental health problem. But not giving my son his pills isn't what he needs, because you think, oh no, I don't believe in those. He shouldn't take those, so you don't give them to him. And because you guys think, oh no, but he still fucks up when he's on his pills. Maybe if he doesn't take them, he won't. He fucks up when he's on his medication. The pills don't make him perfect. But when there's enough of it in his systems, it makes a difference. I can tell you how it makes a difference because before Brandon started taking the medication, he was so many years behind in the subject, and that subject, and this subject. 2 years behind in some. From the moment he started taking that medication, he could focus. He learned how to focus. He learned how to. Suddenly, this dumb little boy who was always starting trouble, I was still getting in trouble, still a fucking boy. But whose marks turned around so fast. We got like his behaviour on the first day. We had the school ringing us up and saying, well, "What's wrong with Brandon?" Because we were meant to have told them the day that we were going to start the medication. When we wanted to get him originally, it started on Monday, but we thought, well, it started on Thursday. See how he handles it. So if you had to go take it again on Friday, at least we had the weekend to kind of see what else could be done. But we hadn't told the school that we'd moved it from Wednesday. Well, from what it should have been on Monday of the following week, that we brought it through to the Wednesday. Yeah, that's right, because there was 2 days left, Thursday and Friday. And the first day, something happened outside, and half the kids ran to the window, which is always the mongrel ones, which Brandon would have been probably the first of. the other half of the kids sat there, and while the teacher was looking through, the ones who'd stood up to go and look out the window, she was expecting to see Brandon being the first one. Well, on this day, he was still sitting on the mat reading. They rang us straight away. Then Brandon went from being probably, well, I wouldn't say the dumbest. When he left Pointing Primary, he had 14 awards for sports. He had gotten first in high jump, first in long jump, and first in shot put. And the only reason he couldn't go in the other subjects was because they limited to you only doing 3. The year before, he'd won even more. But on his last year, he left there with the highest marks. And he still did stupid things. My kid's always going to do stupid things. And just like your kids did stupid things, it's like your kids did stupid things. Even if you put all the collective stupid things that my boys did, they're not stupid. They've had disadvantages. And like me, their brain doesn't work properly. If my lungs didn't work properly, you wouldn't stop me from taking the asthma pump. If my sugar levels were out, you wouldn't stop me from taking my medication. Somehow when people, this is what I never get about people, they kind of think, oh, you've got a mental problem. Oh, well, you just need this. You just need to, oh, what did I hear all the time? Oh, man, just get over it, you know? Fuck, honestly, what the stupidest advice you could give. You think you'd be feeling like this if you could just say, oh, no, I'm going to get over it now and just get around. This isn't like being sad. Everybody feels sadness. You can be sad because somebody's, sad because someone's going. I used to. I didn't get sad. I've got what you call manic depression. So you guys know what I was like when I get hyper. I go, None of you ever saw, I don't think, the crash afterwards. Because by that time I'd left, or, Simon for the last 13 years has been helping me with the crashes. My boys have been helping me with the crashes. Before I went over to Moses that night, Brandon kept saying, Dad, just have a sleep. Don't go and see him, just have a sleep. My son does that because he knows that my son knows that. I don't know if both of them know, but the fact that Brandon knows that he knows what works for me, but having Whānau around doesn't help me. Because all it makes me do is feel worse that I've had to get my family out of this. And I know from a Māori perspective that maybe, this is the way that it traditionally worked, but we didn't know mental health back then. We might have thought someone was maroke or, whatever it is, but, we didn't understand back in those days that actually mental health is a real problem. And just like any other problem that you'd have in the body, you need to take medication. Me, Shelford and Brandon take medication that helps us, and it does help us. Well, except my weed would help better. I smoke cannabis with my son. I used to sneak off to the pub with you when I was 16. We never drank with Dad at 16, but he did some pretty fucking nightclubbing and all that shit. I should not have been doing that sort of stuff at 16. By the time I turned 18, I can remember going up to Brown Owl up on K Road, well, bloody Queens. I can remember it like it was yesterday. I remember who I was with when I was there. I can't remember what the hell I was doing there. We had some great feeds up there. Don't know if I mean, they used to call it the Brown Owl. I don't know if it was a cafe or strip club or somebody's house. But I'm going to raise my kids my way. It's not going to be everybody's way, and I'm going to do things different. But like my company, and it's mine, because all of this came out of my mind, just like my boy, Brandon, my son, Shelford, and my daughter, Kiana. Um, Damn it, I forgot. I did too, shit. This business is just as much a part of me as my kids are a part of me, in the sense that, okay, the last one only took 4 days to write. But the last one might have only took 4 days because of all the time I'd spent before that. And of course, I think she's our too, but I think she was a long, long time ago. Or maybe I just haven't found her photo. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe I meet her on the other side of the veil. But it just hasn't been her that's been in my corner. And my husband. I never stood up to him. I never stood up for him. I never stood up for my kids. I let a lot of people say things about my kids. A lot of things about my husband. No more. So that's why I've made some of the decisions that the people that I need to have close to me, I'm like, I know everybody loves me. I know that they all will show me love in different ways. And for them, that's what they think I need. And I do. Uh, but this is a company company business. Call it a sheep's arsehole for all I care. It's not about the company business, sheep's asshole. It's not about the amount of country. Well, for me, it's not about all the countries we go into. It's about the people that we help in those places. I used to think. I remember the other day we were talking about Taranaki, and it was said, "No, it's got to be Taranaki first." No, it doesn't have to be Taranaki first. Everything about what we do. These guys called this meeting for Monday, and they said, "Oh, no, it should be good. We'll meet for an hour, just quick, brief meeting, and give us the time to go away and just talk." And apparently, I said, 1 hour. I said, that's not enough time. They said, well, it's only a brief meeting. We want to just cover the 6 main topics. Like they kind of have this expectation that I'm going to only be able to pick 6 things out of this whole plan that would be financially viable. Well, they're all fucking financially viable, but you guys want to pick the 6 that are going to make the most money. Well, I don't want the most money. I want Opunaki. And while I know these guys could be giving me the potential, Whakawhanaungatanga isn't included in that time. And when I was speaking to Lisa today, who's awesome, she's She said to me, it's a corporate company. They might do their version of mihi whakatau and whai kōrero and the response, but that should take about 5 minutes. Bro, I didn't say that to her, but I respect her. I'd probably still say cuz. How am I going to whakawhanaungatanga in 5 minutes? How am I going to build a connection that I know is trustworthy? Is there something about you that I can relate to? Because how do I know I can trust you if I don't know who you are? I don't want to know what university you go to or how many years you've been working for this company. I need to be building a proper connection. And it was what I didn't understand about what you said, sis. You were saying how important it was that we start right. And I was like, yeah, but if we can't get the business started, we can't do it. And it wasn't until I realized, after that, here I was always looking at Opunake, and I'd forgotten to look at the whole picture. And now that I can see how much work needs to be done, it's not about looking at each individual component part, but looking at it as part of a larger system that goes both international, national, virtual. I mean, I remember when I put it up on the wall and I was going, this is the virtual company, those are the ones who franchise. That. Everybody does it, but no one factors that into the company when they start it. They build a great company that evidenced how good it's going to be. And if it becomes successful, then they franchise it. Well, nobody told me that's how they do it. I thought if you had a good company and idea, you roll it out. And how do I know it's going to be a way? You might not know that we exist, but look at this information. That if you do these, when we look at our cost projections and cost of setup and startup costs, and they're going to be reduced because of the input that we put forward as a company, because we're going to be working with First Nations people, which, as Steph said, by that time we'd want to be working with the iwi or the hapu. But this time it would be good to get the iwi to fund it. So you help fund it because you're putting your money back in the iwi. But don't expect that you're going to get any of that profit. This is your business responsibility to support your iwi. Sounds simple now, eh? But because the company is ours, so it's quite transitive, that ours, mine, ours, mine. You'll understand soon. What I was thinking is that virtual business where somebody else will own the land. Why not be us? Somebody else might buy the franchise. Cool. Well, okay, just like McDonald's or Mobile or any of those things, we'll come in and we'll build the sheds and we'll build, again, go back to that snaking one of the one. It doesn't have to be snaking. I've never seen a straight line hill, and that's why I wanted that kind of ability to put curves and angles. And then you go down 5 feet, and then, oh my God, guess what? That room that's just starting over that one is eventually going to end up the top over here, which allows you time to clean up and then goes right across the top and starts again. Germination and seedling for the whole growth system sits one floor above. So, it goes so there's one row here, one row there, one row there, one row there. We're in 6 stories. But by the time it gets up to the top, it goes up one more where it goes into a cleaning phase and process. While it's going along here, there's different stages and it's kind of like being one of the problems that they've been having with grow rooms over long periods of time. It'll get dirty in its first year. And you can get most of the dirt out by managing the air quality. You're never going to manage it that no bad air is going to get in there unless, of course, you do it indoor. On a closed hermetic grow room. So this idea of a grow room going along here and getting all its nutrients at that level, and by the time it gets up to the top over here where it finishes, and that whole process for this one to get there takes 12 weeks. So that by the time it rises up to this level, next level up, the next part of the business is where it comes off this side. So it goes from there to which is now entering on this side. So now the product that comes out this side goes, as the product comes out this side, it starts its immediate thing, because things are only a word I can use. It goes back into, starts going through the extraction, BHO, CFO, CO2, CO2, sorry, butane, CO2. There's another. I just heard about it recently. It's got a solution that they say is cleaner, but I don't understand how they can be cleaner than CO2 when that's what the plant naturally brings into itself. It was I've got to find out how would. It just makes more sense that pushing CO2 through a plant, which naturally would push the stuff out, would be a much easier, much better and safer way than using I suppose, a gaseous soluble. And again, what the fuck do I know about this stuff? Well, apparently a lot. Anyway, now you know a little bit about my crazy head and my want of a better word, guardian angel, gifter. I know she's the one. I don't know who she is. And it's kind of like this thing I keep saying, honey, that's enough. I spoke to the bloody people today and they only want me to pick 3. And why would you come and give me this water one? Come on. She gave it to me because she knew there would be a problem in Australia of how we were going to get water to farms that are in the outback. How would I know this stuff? I know. I actually now get it. I had my luck when I went on that fucking fantastic trip. That, like for all the time, for the years it happened ago, I've maybe told 2 people, 3 people, and they didn't believe me. I gotta admit, I didn't believe me either. I mean, I wouldn't believe me either. Except when Tony came and picked me up. There's this fucking huge ship behind me. And that's not, no, this shouldn't happen to me. No, it's like, wow. But when I was not well, I couldn't enjoy that stuff. Like, it's horrible that you don't get to enjoy things because you're kind of always thinking, why did this happen to me? I didn't deserve this. All that somebody had to do to me at any time, all they had to do was say something mean. Other people can deal with it. But one little mean statement for somebody who is on, like, you guys have also been manic. When I'm on the depressive thing, if somebody tells me something when I'm on the depressive side, I don't just go down, I fucking sink. I wish it didn't happen. But the weed's helping a lot. Even if the only thing it's doing is... Anyway, I'm going to run out of power. I think I'm going to post this one tonight. Love you.